Hi guys, welcome back to Poor Decisions with Robyn and
Liv.
Today we are back in the Four Shells Kava again for a Kava sip and spill with one another. And today we are covering work stories. So you haven't even told me anything about the work stories you're going to be sharing.
No, I haven't. But I have 35,000 for you exactly. If we can get through that in an hour and a half, I'll be amazed.
Ideal. I have one story that will take me forever to tell. And then I'm wondering whether or not any of yours will spark some of mine.
Oh,
That's
definitely.
probably true.
Absolutely. Sorry. Cheers.
Cheers. One story in.
Guys.
Does it count for a Kava?
I don't know.
We'll look at 7 years of bad sex if we don't look at each other when we cheers Kava. We should go back through last week's footage.
I think it's any beverage. Like, I think that's the rule. It's just, like, any drink. So, like, water. But, like, you don't cheers with water.
I do with Rua, but he's a toddler,
Yeah,
so I feel like he cheers everything.
He's 4,
with a toddler.
yeah.
We cheers, like, chippies. Sorry, we're gulping this down. That's why it's gone silent.
As you are meant to. We're just extremely thirsty.
Both. All right, then.
So welcome.
Are you going to take us off with one of your work stories? I think first you should go through where are we starting, which job we're starting with. Are you going in chronological order of workplaces or?
We could do workplaces. So when I was 13, I was a babysitter. We're not going that far back.
Like, how long have we been in?
It's like I started babysitting when I was 13. Let's start corporate world. That's where I work. I work in corporate America in New Zealand. Oh, we're in New Zealand. That's where we are.
Aotearoa.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah. We're doing the intro for the next hour. We'll just be introducing more things. I'm in corporate. Right now I'm a manager in a finance company. Before that, I was redundant. COVID. I say COVID like COVID had any significance in me being made redundant. It didn't. I just quit my job and then COVID happened. So then I found another job and then I was redundant. But before that, I was like in another little small finance company. Yeah.
If they just go bust or are they just closing sections or?
Well, the company that I got made redundant for, it's because I was working at this job, small finance company in New Zealand, and then I quit my job to go backpack Asia, and obviously that never happened because I was meant to leave in March 2020, but then I think I quit my job on the 10th of March, and my visas and stuff got canceled on the 13th. So I was like, shit. So I texted my boss and I was like, hey, can I have my job back? Because, like, COVID. And he's like,
hi, guys.
he's like, Liv, I think all things happen for a reason, blah, blah, blah. Like, I wish you all the best, but, like, no.
Okay, that's not that bad. At least your right back sucks to suck.
No, but that's also that would have been the third time they hired me. Because I had literally quit that job once before to go to Italy and then came back and they hired me back.
I'd been like, third time's a charm.
Yeah, literally. I was trying to push it. But yeah, so I was working there. I've had, honestly, I think one of the work stories that's good, and it's like a little bit of it's not something like it's not like a braggy moment, but I think it's actually really cool how I've got all my jobs. It's all just through conversations. That's how I've gotten every single job I have. When I first moved to New Zealand, I was working in an Italian restaurant. One of our regular customers came in, and she'd be in all the time, like getting a pizza or whatever, and her and I would just like chit chat back and forth. And maybe like 6 months into her being a regular customer, she looks at me and she's like, I don't mean this in an offensive way, but you seem like too smart to just be doing this. Like, because I was working 3 nights a week because that was the only time it was open, like minimum wage, small, tiny restaurant, like not even like a fun bar hospitality job, like working with like 50-year-old men. Like, it was weird. Not that that's weird, but...
Oh gosh, no, I just thought of another work story of mine.
Yeah,
You just reminded me of.
You would have.
Yeah.
Park it. She's like, do you want to come for an interview to where I work? She was an accountant. And I was like, yeah, sure. So then I met with the owner and then I got that job. And then from that job, where I got the job with the other finance company that I quit twice. They were one of our suppliers, and they knew me through that, and then they hired me through that. And then, yeah, that's what I do for work. I talk to people, and I get employed.
That's a pretty good way to do it.
But we'll crack into some funny stuff. I'll probably elaborate a little bit on the situation I'm in at the moment, because that's kind of
Funny
it's a fun work story, I think. Like, yeah, we'll crack in after Robyn.
I'll give you one that you just reminded me of, actually. It was my first day working as a waitress in an Italian place in my hometown, and I was 14 for this job. So I wasn't allowed to pour any alcohol or anything like that, but obviously I could take it to tables. Anyway, first day of work, I asked her if I could borrow some black pants, and she specifically told me, do not. She's like, yep, you can wear any of these ones, just you cannot wear the pair of Chloe ones. As in Chloe, the designer ones. Which I didn't even know they made clothes at this age. I thought they just made perfume that my aunties heavily wore. And I put them on, and they just looked so good. I was like, I'm not going to do anything to them, but I wanted to feel really cute on my first day as a little waitress. Yeah. I was like, I felt so pretty and nice, and I went to my job. I'm trying to remember the name of the place. It was it's like an Italian place. It totally wasn't an Italian place. It was half pub, but served kind of Italian food, and everything was just super garlicky. Just so much garlic on everything. They even served it wasn't full Italian. It was I'll get into that in a second. First day, I show up in my Chloe pants. I am loving them to death. I'm setting tables badly, and I drop a fork on the floor, and I go to pick it up, and I split the pants all the way up the crack.
That's horrible.
First day, within the first hour. It gets worse. I then go, and it's a husband and wife owner. I go and find the wife, and I was like, hey, I need help for a second. She's like, what is it? And I turned around, really nervous. She was like, oh, it's okay. And she got a second apron to put around the back as well. So 2 aprons on. And then carry on with the evening, and it's getting quite busy. And I'm serving pints of Peroni. And they sent me out with 4 pints of Peroni on a tray. No. And Peroni glasses are just
tall ones.
The stupidest design ever. They're top heavy. They swoop up and out, and they're so dumb. I have 4 of them on a tray, and I'm little as well, so I'm just carrying them over with 0 balance and grace. And I'm wearing little heels because I wanted to feel cute. Yeah. Again, I go to the table and I get really, really close, and it's a big, massive family dinner, and I proceed to drop 4 pints of Peroni onto one guy and his fajitas. Which again, why the fuck are there fajitas at an Italian restaurant?
Italian
restaurant.
Well, it's so funny.
Awful.
I would be mortified. I'd never go back.
Oh, I was mortified. Yeah. And I was getting paid £3.60 or something, the minimum for that age. Yeah. Just I remember getting my pay when I finally got my first pay. And just being so shocked that was how much I had. I was just oh.
You got 16 pounds. You're
yeah.
Amazing.
I was minus
minus
my fajitas.
Yeah.
Minus fajitas.
And a second apron.
And my mum's pair of pants.
Yeah. So you're negative after
I don't even know if I ever told her about that. She knows
now. Yeah. That would be mortifying. I probably would honestly never go back. The most embarrassing moment I've ever had, because I did 2 jobs for 3 years. So I'd do my job in the day. And then at night, I'd go to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I would go to the bar, and I'd do bartending. And I was working at the Northcote Tavern a couple years ago, and it was one of those old bars that you it's a bar on either side, and you could walk through as the bartender. So there was the kind of more family side on one side, and then more of the gaming pub one on the other side, and in the middle there was a cafe. So I was on the family side, and it was maybe 11 o'clock at night. This was on a Friday. And again, remember, I worked 7 days a week for 3 years. Obviously I'd take some time off here and there, but I was always tired. So it was 11 o'clock on a Friday. So I'd just done my 8 hours at my job, gone there. I'm there until 11. I'm so tired, so frustrated. I'm the epitome of happiness and what you want from a bartender, right? So friendly. And then there was a stag do, A stag do?
anytime I
No,
choose.
it gets so bad.
To be fair though, this is like, I feel that way about bachelorettes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still like, it's so embarrassing. There's a stag do, and they were ordering like a bunch of shots trying to get the groom really, really drunk. And so they come up to the bar, and I'm like cleaning up and whatever, because they're like one of the last tables in here. And they're like, oh, hey, this guy looks at me and like has this little grin on his face. And he's like, hey, can I get a quick fuck? I look at him and I was like, I'm way too tired for this right now, bud. Like, can you just order a drink and leave me alone? And he looks at me like deadpan serious. He's like, it's a drink, hun. My face goes like probably the color of this shirt.
The shirt is red for those not
seeing.
Oh,
the shirt is red. I walk through the other end of the bar, tap the bartender on the other side, and I said, I can't deal with those guys over there. Can you please just do it? Like, as if they'd been, like...
They've done anything.
As if they'd done anything wrong. And then I stayed on that side of the bar the rest of the night and just never went back.
People asking, he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't get service here. All I've asked for is a slippery nipple, a blowjob, and a quick fuck.
Clearly. I'm like, I don't know, I was probably like 23 at the time, 23 or 24. Like, I don't drink shots. I don't know what any of these things are. I know what, like, a beer is. The first time I was working at that bar, a guy ordered, like, a ginger and dry, or a dry and ginger, or something like that. And it was like the bar with, like, the liquor at the top that you have to, like, press the thing in.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just looked at him. I was like, I don't know what that means. And there was, like, no one around to help me. So he's like, oh, darling. He's like, you've got, on the little squirty thing, you've got, like, the ginger ale, put that in, and then he's like, and above you've got like the whiskey or like the Jack Daniels. I still don't know what goes in it. And he's like, just push it. I was like, okay. And I was like, how many times do I push it? He's like, well, 2. You do 2. He's like, but you could do another one if you want. I was like, yeah, sure. You're helping me out. You're teaching me how to do my job, so here you go.
He's like, what the fuck? You're like, sure, you know.
He's like, put 4 in.
You're like, don't stop. It's like Parmesan in restaurant with me. It's like, say when.
Cracked pepper.
I never say when.
No, there is no.
The room fills with Parmesan. I love when I'm getting, like, because they start grating it, and I do, like, stupid amounts on. So they start, like, slowing down, and I just look them dead in the eyes and just, like, just shake my head a little bit. And they start speeding up again, and I nod, and then they just start slowing to do the tapping, and you're just like, fine, then I'm being cut off.
Yeah, they're like, there is no more. You're at the rind now. This is the hard bit.
He's grating his fingers.
Like, literally.
I keep going.
They're so funny. I don't know, like, I don't really do that, I just like a little bit, just to make it like a little bit cheesy.
No, I want it like all over the top, melted onto like the pasta, and then like
slathered on your body,
and then dry on top and dusty. Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Fair. I don't think I have a limit, but then I always have
the limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist. And I always have crazy dreams after like stupid amounts of Parmesan though. But I don't mind that. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, free vivid dreams.
30-second kava break while we chug. I'm really bad at chugging, eh?
Yeah, I just have to come up for air.
I did a shot when I was in Vietnam. No, when I was in Thailand. My friend Alexia ordered us shots, like just me and her, and I was like, I'm gonna gag, like I can't do this. Or I was like, oh, how embarrassing would it be if you gagged or something? I said something stupid like that. As soon as the vodka hit my tongue, I like projectile shot it out across the table, started choking on it. Like I just could not, I can't do shots. I can't chug things, like shoot.
Yeah, I remember giving you a sambuca one time and you hated that entirely.
My life, yeah.
The beautiful sambuca shot.
The sambuca shot that we used to warm ourselves up so that we can take a lime scooter from one road to another bar.
Yeah, that guy begged us not to do it.
Absolutely begged us. He's like, this guy comes running up to us as we're getting onto the scooter. The scooter, which had a time restriction on it, so 1:00 in the morning, it didn't actually work. Little did we know, we still tried.
We tried to.
The guy comes up to us, runs up to us, and goes, I don't know you, but please don't do this.
You will die.
Yeah.
Like, you meant it dead serious. We'd be like, fair.
I was like, okay, yeah.
It was definitely for the best. It was a smart decision to not do that. It did feel like a waste of a beer coat shot, though, which is what that was for me.
That was. Oh, it was also because it was quite cold back then. But yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really chilly.
But yeah, bars. That was just that was honestly, genuinely, probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my life working at that bar.
Oh.
So to be fair, I haven't had really that many bad ones. Yeah,
it's a shot.
Yeah.
I know someone.
But it was because it wasn't like just him though. It was like all of the guys were there. And so it's like I'm saying this in front of like 6 people. And I'm like, oh my God. It was
like,
mortifying.
oh my gosh, these men won't leave me alone.
Yeah. Like, I'm so hot. They want to take me to the
They've
bathroom.
all asked for a quick fuck each.
Hey guys.
Disgusting.
That's not that type of bar.
Just because you haven't organized a stripper for your stag do doesn't mean that you can harass the workers.
It's just like, how was I supposed to know that was a drink?
You were the bartender.
Yeah, literally.
I think just clarifying, you're not a bartender. It's like
I'm not a bartender though. I was just working at a bar,
tending to it for money.
No, I just like that's why I like when all the like old men, like like middle-aged men would come up to the bar. I was like, sweet, this is amazing because all I'm gonna have to do is pour a beer. Like, I'm good with that. That I can do. Don't make me make things.
I'm the worst person when I go in because I always have like an obscure drink that I want. And they're like, what goes in there? And I'm like, I don't know. That's your job.
And you're like, I like the name of it.
So I have a drink from Caretaker, which is like my absolute favorite bar in Auckland. And they do an amazing drink called a Special Forces, and that's because it's got absinthe.
I like the name.
Yeah, it's an absinthe based. It's actually a gin based drink, but it's got absinthe in it. And I always ask them to go heavier on the absinthe for it because I love that licoricey taste, which you wouldn't like because you didn't like sambuca. And I personally like black sambuca, absinthe, all of those things. More of that earthy, rooty taste, which is why I don't mind kava at all. But yeah,
sorry,
cough break.
Yeah, sorry.
But every time I've asked for another bar, they're like, what is that? And I'm like, I can't tell you much. Because once I've had one, it's not like I'm remembering any of the ingredients. So.
Because I asked them to go heavy on the absinthe.
And then I am absent of mind.
Yeah, fair.
And thought afterwards. Beautiful, beautiful drink though. All right, I'll go into one of my work stories, which is, I'm going to have so many from this one job because it was like, what's the worst? Actually, I'll go into it. It's probably the worst job I've had. Even though I've had other like waitressing jobs, which are like shit jobs, but this place was just the worst place I ever worked in overall, and just had so much like, it was like I feel like every like person that worked there is kind of like a lot of them are trauma bonded to one another.
But that's the best. Honestly, you make so many friends being trauma bonded at work.
Oh, I feel like we also made enemies. It was such a bad, such a bad environment.
Like a toxic
environment. It was awful,
yeah,
awful environment. It was terrible.
Where was it? Let's name and shame.
It's actually closed now. They actually like went out of business. This is like it was so badly run from the top down. But it was called Merge, and it was a department store in Newmarket, and they did so I was a department manager there. And I was 19 and I got hired for this job and I was no good at it and I shouldn't have been hired for this role. It was just that the general manager, thought that I'd be good at it because I was English and he had another girl that was English that worked for him who was much older than me, who was great at her job, which was a vastly different role, which I would have actually been good at because it was like decorating the store. It was doing I would have been great at that. But no, I got hired as a department manager for the vintage section because I was English essentially. So all of the stuff I'd be buying would be English stuff, but it was all vintage, more marketable towards the New Zealand Asian community. They go for more of like that. I don't know if you can really say it here. It's like I feel like people will be weird about the name of it. It's called like Lolita, like the sort of look where it's like very girly, young looking, vintagey, like pastel, stuff like that. Beautiful little vintage dresses and stuff like that. That was the department I was put in. The department I was more suited for was like the bohemian section, which was downstairs.
100%.
But my friend Catherine, who was running that part, was amazing at it. She was really, really good. Even though she was the same age, she was really, really good at her job. Very passionate. I was good at selling, and I enjoyed selling. So helping dress people, making them feel good about themselves was the bit that I really enjoyed. I was just dreadful at the managing part because, apparently you have to be on time to open a shop. Ridiculous.
It's like the one thing that...
Really,
the opening hours.
I don't want to be
a
key holder for anything ever again, to be honest. I'd love to have someone else be in charge of my house keys if I could.
You would.
But unfortunately, yeah, if I could.
Yeah. You just need like one of those like electronic keypads.
I do. That's what I need.
And then to forget the code and be like,
Oh, yeah. It would be, yeah, I'd have to have like a million notes for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll go into one of the stories from there. And there are plenty from this place that will probably come up over time. But one day, I was, I think, the only manager on other than the general manager. Possibly. Or maybe I was the only manager on the bottom floor. So because I was managing for the day, I would put my lunch break last. I also liked my lunch break being last. I'd rather wait for it and have like a short afternoon. Because I don't mind being hungry in the morning. I'm not really hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
I get starving as the day goes on. So at about, we had a new girl start that day. So I was training her in the morning and stuff. And the other staff were helping her out upstairs. Put my lunch break last. Right before I was about to go on my lunch break, we got a call. I answered the phone. And this lady goes, I need to speak to the manager. And I was like, okay, this is she. How can I help you? And she's like, I have a faulty jacket that I need a refund. And she was like, I'll be in there soon. And I was like, okay, only managers can put through refunds. So yeah, if it's faulty, of course, we can refund it for you. We just need to see the item and obviously have it back. And she was like, great, I'll be there soon. My name is Vicky. And then she slams the phone down. I was like, okay. From the entire tone, I was like, I don't want to
I don't want this.
Well, I don't want this, but I don't want to leave anyone else with
Yeah.
this either. So I was like, I'm not going to leave anyone else with this. So I wait. Hours pass. It gets to 3:30. And she finally comes through the door. And she is just, you just see someone, sometimes you're like, okay, you're mad. Like she was just like, she had this like
red.
She was just mad. Like she comes storming in with these massive sunglasses. She whips them off and she's like, I'm Vicky, I'm here for the refund. And I was like, okay, can I see the jacket? I just want to see what's up with it. So she pulls out this like pink and white floral jacket and it's got riveted buttons on the front. And I was going, okay, what's the issue with the jacket? So I was looking at it, it looked fine. And she was like, the buttons jingle. And I was like, what do you mean they jingle? And she goes, they jingle when I move. She's like, I couldn't leave the house because of the noise. They just won't stop jingling. And she like picks up the jacket and she's like, see, they jingle when I move. And I was like, they not unless you like, you have to be like jumping for it to make this noise. But it's because the metal buttons are like metal on the front and the back.
Yeah.
I was like, unfortunately, this doesn't count as a fault in the jacket. But we could, and this was also on sale, so we actually don't do any returns or credits on that, but I'm willing to do a credit on it so you can do an exchange for something else. If you're not happy with it, she's like, nope, I want a refund, it's faulty. And this woman then went to her bag and she had printed off the Customer Rights Act and she had highlighted sections. So
I would, honestly, at that point, I think like I don't know what power. I've never worked in retail, so like I don't know what power employees have. But if I was a manager, like and I was allowed to, I'd just be like, yeah, sure, just get out of my face.
So I had already talked to. Oh yeah, I should have had that in. I talked to our general manager, who is this nightmare person to work with.
Oh, you did say that they're horrible though.
He was just like, oh, have you ever seen, this is irrelevant, but just to add more scope to this man, he looked like Penguin from Batman. And I mean, in every way, like he just did. And he was like, no refunds, like absolutely not. Because I'd already said that, can we just put a refund through, like when she gets here? And he was like, only if it's faulty. And I was like, okay.
You're like, it is, and you tear off all the buttons in the back.
Honestly, looking back, but at least I have the story.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so unfortunately this jacket isn't faulty, but I call up girl, actually Canadian Jen, who I've talked about before. I call up Jen and I ask her to bring down another one of it just to show that they're like the same. And I was like, so she brings it down and she's holding it there, and the new girl, Carmelise, has come down to like relieve me for lunch break. She's also there. So now there's like three of us and then she's over there and we're all like spread out. Jen's holding the jacket and I go, as you can see, this jacket's I think first I was like, so the jacket's coming down now just so I can just compare the two anyway. But from looking at this, like I don't believe that this is faulty. and she like looks at me and she goes like red, and she's just like, who are you gonna believe, you or me?
You're like,
and then I was like, I think it was like that meme with like all the calculations are like flying in front of me. I was like, and I was just like really quiet, and I was like, I'm gonna go with me.
Yeah.
And at that moment, Jen's come down, as so is the new
The jacket's
girl.
jingling.
So she
down the steps.
And then she makes no noise until she's holding on the hanger, and I go, as you can see, this jacket is exactly the same. And Jen, who's older, she's 26, so she does exactly what I think me and you would have done at this time. And then she knew what she was doing. And she shook the jacket. And it made the one noise that this woman hates more than any noise in this world. And then she threw the jacket at me. And she turns to the new girl and goes, what are you looking at? Go away! And this girl just goes, and just runs up the stairs looking like tears are in her eyes. But she's only like 17. Aww, it's her first
bless
day.
her.
I was like, oh, it's going to be a thing I have to deal with in a minute. Jacket's thrown at me, and then she storms out. And then after all of that, I go upstairs with like the thrown jacket at me, like the printed off things from her. And the fucking general manager goes, call her up and say she can have a refund. And I was like, I am going to kill someone if I have to call this woman with my tail between my legs and be like, you can have a refund. Yeah. Why? She's already left. So anyway, I call her up the next day to come with my refund. It doesn't end. She comes into the store, and I'm on the upstairs floor this time to issue the refund for her. And she comes in, giant glasses again, whips them off. She'd yelled at me, the girl, and also had thrown the jacket at me. And I was like, before I issue the refund, I want you to know that it was not okay the way you spoke to me or my staff yesterday, and it's unacceptable behavior. And she's like, I'm here for a refund, not a lecture.
Oh my God, this lady needs to chill.
Worse. She doesn't do the refund. And as she's about to leave, I go, have a nice day. She turns around to me. I swear to God, she had red eyes. And she was like, you just said have a nice life. And then storms over to me. And she's like, I'm going to find out who your boss is. I'm going to find out who your supervisor is. And I'm going to tell them what you said to me.
Even if you had.
And she was like, and I'm never coming back again. And I was like, good. And then I went, I don't know, for whatever reason, I turned into an even more English person than I've ever done before. And I was like, good, because you're bad.
Get out of here, lassie.
Just get out.
No, absolutely not. No, I'm so happy I never worked in retail.
Oh God,
it's one thing that I don't think I could have. You see me driving in a car, right? Like,
oh yeah, no, you can't deal with the general public.
I can't deal with the general population. Like, it has to be like, I just can't do it. I can't. When I worked in that Italian restaurant, that was probably my exposure to the general public, because obviously people, like, they come in and off the street and stuff, and they suck. And sometimes you meet really cool people, like you have good chit chats and you meet like nice people.
Oh yeah, I made like a few friends. I've got a lovely lady that I met in the same shop. She's called Naomi, who I'm still in contact with, and I loved dressing her, and she was such a pleasure to talk to every single time she came, and she made my job really nice. Yeah. So we had like a few people like that, but unfortunately for every like one of those, you had like 20 like people who awful. Exactly. I think I told you about the time where I went in the morning. It was like first thing in the morning on like a Tuesday, and this lady comes in and she was like, hi, how are you today? And she goes, I'm here to shop, not to be asked how I am. And I was like, oh, go fuck myself then.
Yeah, literally. To be fair, I am like that. Like, I'm not rude to staff.
Yeah, you would never say that.
I would never say that to anybody.
You just be like,
But like, I just look at them and I go like, that awkward salamander smile, like, please leave me alone. But worst jobs, I've got two that compete against each other, not against your one. Like, that's pretty bad, and I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have gone off the rails. Like, if someone spoke to me with that level of disrespect, like, I say this, like, I'm such a big talker, I say this, I would probably be, like, sitting behind the counter crying. Like, I'd be like, don't talk to me like that. You're so mean.
It's horrible getting in I hate confrontation.
To be fair, I actually really love confrontation. I'm really good at it because I could stay level-headed and like talk about the facts. Like I love arguing with people, but it's fun. I find like a good.
I love a debate.
I love a debate.
Yeah, debate's different though than when you're in like a customer-facing role and you're being restricted by. If you're restricted by someone else, it's different.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
in like my job or any job where I've been self-employed, that's been fine.
Yeah.
Because I've dealt with, I have another one. Yeah, I've dealt with people who like, they'll say stuff to you, but you're just like, after a while,
You
you're
can't
just
do
like,
anything
it's water
about
off a
it.
duck's back. You're back. But when it's your own business, you're just like, no, unfortunately, like I disagree
Yeah.
with you. We just don't have to work together. We don't have to do business with one another, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's
That's the end of it.
that's
But when
it,
you're dealing with other people's rules, but yeah, so I've got two that kind of compete with that, against each other for the worst job I've ever had. One was the Italian restaurant. So I got that when I was 18. I'd moved to New Zealand, obviously, was looking for a job, found this job. The owner told me, I had no waitressing experience. Like I think I had a job for like 3 months before I moved to New Zealand. The owner told me, you got hired because I speak French, and it was an Italian restaurant, so he wanted someone that would be able to pronounce the names of the food.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Without saying like capricciosa or like pepperoncini. It's like pepperoncini, capricciosa. Like I could actually pronounce them. That was the only reason. So I was like, cool, Canadian got me something. Amazing. So worked there for a while. I won't say the name of the restaurant because some of this stuff's illegal. But I was 18 years old, just moved to New Zealand by myself, working in a restaurant with the owner who was like 40, mid-40s, something like that, his father who was like this old 70-year-old man or whatever, the chef who was like 45, mid-40s, this suit, like everybody was older than me. Oh my God, you just
reminded me of another one.
Pause.
Yes.
Everyone was older than me. And I was honestly like, still now I'm naive. Like still now I always assume the best of people and I want to see the good side in people. And it's
except when you're driving.
Except when I'm driving. You suck. Except when
you're all stupid.
You all suck. I'm gonna hit you. No. But like honestly, I like to see the good in people and I've always been like that. But like I just don't understand how some of these experiences have not made me like wake up. I used to be like stood against like, because it was a really, really small restaurant. So we had like the alleyway. I used to be like stood against like the wall, like waiting, like looking at because I was the only waitress. So I was like looking to see if anybody needed anything and I'd be like stood there. And the chef would walk by and because it was like so narrow, he would like put his arm out so he'd like graze my boobs every time like he walked by. God. So he would like kind of like put his arm out. And like honestly,
I was just like,
oh, it's a small space, like he doesn't know what he's doing, blah 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 blah. Until I was there one day cleaning and they did that classic thing where they're standing, the two like 45-year-old men. I'm like an 18, 19-year-old girl at this point, right? They're standing behind like the bar of like the restaurant and I'm like cleaning and prepping the restaurant for like service. I lean over and I was like cleaning the benches because someone spilled like wine on it or something. And they're like, oh, you missed a spot, like down there, trying to get me to like bend over in front of them. That's when I was like, oh no, these guys are actually just pigs. And then it all kind of like escalated like from when I started there.
Yeah, when you're that age though, like and younger, you just don't.
I didn't like.
You don't see it in the same way as you would now. Like also if we were to see an 18-year-old girl in that same position, we just.
I would be fighting.
We would be fighting.
I would be fighting. Like if I saw someone treat any girl, honestly, like
18 especially,
but an 18-year-old girl, the way that they treated me, like there would be fists thrown. By my little fists, but I would be fighting crab. I'd be punching. No, I would absolutely. But it's the other thing that they did, and again, I was 18. I was 18 or 19 at this point. I was so naive. Like it's ridiculous. I came into work one day, and so like my job, I opened and I closed. But we opened like I'd come in around like 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'd work until like 11 or something.
Yeah.
But if there was only a couple of people left in the restaurant at night, I wouldn't close the bar. I would just do it the next morning because like they didn't need me to stay around to like clear 4 glasses.
Yeah.
So I'd just do it the next day. One of those days, I rocked up at about 3:00 in the afternoon. I had reset all of the tables apart from one. So I was like, sweet, I'll just do that one. I come into the restaurant in the morning and in the afternoon, I'm fuming. Absolutely fuming. I walk in and everything's like disarray. There's like cigarettes on the table, like ash, like cigarette ash. There's like this white powder all over the table, and like a lot, like wasteful amount of white powder on the table. But I, at this point, was, again, 18 or 19. I had never done drugs in my life. I didn't even know what cocaine was. Like, yeah, I'd heard of it, sure, but I've never seen it. So I go into the kitchen, and I'm just, like, fuming. I yell at the chef. I'm like, if you're going to do your fucking icing sugar for your stupid decorations, for your, like, stupid desserts, because he, like, decorates the desserts, like, with the icing sugar. I was like, if you're going to do that, do it in the fucking kitchen. Like, now I've got to do all of these tables again. Like, because everybody there was just so disrespectful towards me.
Yeah.
That I was just like, I'm done.
That is so disrespectful.
I'm done. He comes out, he's like, what are you, and like, I'm like this sweet Canadian girl that's never been mad at anybody, that he's like, what has happened? Like, something is wrong. So he comes out and he looks at the table and he's like, that's cocaine. I was like, well, it's not me. Like, it's not me. So it turns out the owner was like a drug addict and was like, he'd like bring people into the restaurant at night and like they'd party. And like, cool, amazing.
Yeah, cool,
fun.
we'll clean up.
Clean up. Don't make me wipe your cocaine and cigarettes off the table with like your scattered beer bottles on the floor. Like, that was a bad one. That was a really bad one. Also, when I first started working there, I think minimum wage in New Zealand at the time was like $10.50 an hour.
Yeah.
This would have been like 2016, right? So it was whatever minimum wage was, I was making that. But because I was on a working holiday visa, the owner started just paying me in cash. So he and then like I was like, again, so young, and I didn't want to talk about money, and like that was uncomfortable for me. But then one day I was like, I'm literally barely able to live and pay anything.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be paid like just the minimum wage. That's all I want. He was paying me $5 an hour.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I like made this I didn't make a big thing, but like I was like, hey, like it took a lot for me to have to like ask him to actually put me on the books.
Yeah.
But I did it, and it was a growth point, because now ever since then, like I'm like, I'll never be treated like that from a workplace. When the whole thing happened during COVID and stuff, and I went back to Canada, I was looking for a job while I was in Canada, but I had worked at some really good places by this point, that like I knew how good a good environment could be.
Yeah.
And and I ended up getting a job at I don't actually even remember the name of the company. It was like I applied online, went for an interview. They're like, yeah, cool. It was like shipping auto parts or something. Like, I just literally needed a paycheck.
Yeah.
I went in on the first day, rocked up. There was nobody there, like, ready for me to be there. I finally, like, meet the owner, the boss or whatever, and he, like, the guy who interviewed me, and he, like, put me at a computer, and he's like, oh, yeah, someone will be over to, like, show you what to do in a minute. I waited for, like, 45 minutes, sat there by myself. I had this one girl come over and was like, speed round, like, click, 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 click. I don't have a login. I don't have anything. Like, I don't have any setup. I was just, like, I kind of, like, looked around, and I was, like, literally looked around. I got up. I was like, fuck this. I walked out. I just, like, I just walked out of the building. I get in my car, and I drive away. I get a phone call. 3 hours later. That's how long it took them to notice that I'd left. 3 hours that I was like, I think I made the right call, because I was like, I left at like 10 o'clock in the morning and you did not notice.
That I was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been like, I just left.
Yeah.
Pay me for all those hours. I did a similar thing once when I started working. It was exactly the same sort of situation though, where I was just not given anything. But I had this woman, so I got a job when I first landed in New Zealand. This was before the shop. This was a fabric store. And when I got hired for it, I was like, oh yeah, I've never done this before, and I don't know what I'm doing. I just need to be shown what to do. And it was like, again, speed round. She was speaking half Lithuanian, half English to me.
You're like, thanks.
And then she would yell at me in Lithuanian to do stuff. And she was like, do you have the number for this? Do you have this? Do you have this? Get the dimensions. I was like, but you need to show me what I need to do. I'll be fine once I'm shown, but I need to be shown.
Yeah.
Like, just show me. And she was like, you'll pick it up. And then just like left the store, and she was like, you're in charge till the end of the day. And I was like,
okay.
No, I left.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing this. I
Fair.
was like, absolutely not. I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, anything
Yeah.
could happen. I don't want to be left alone here. I don't know anyone or anything.
To be fair, it could have been a good opportunity for you to pick up Lithuanian.
Not really. Yeah, I know the word stupid girl in Lithuanian, and
That's so mean.
She was not nice, and she was a mean lady.
I just don't understand why some people can be like horrible. Like, I don't get it.
Oh yeah, she was just dreadful. Yeah, and there's like another girl who came in she was in when I first arrived, and she just looked miserable, and she was like, "Oh, you get used to it," like about her, and I was like,
"No,
fuck no,
I don't want to get used to it.
I don't want to get used to it. I'm gonna just leave."
No.
So I'm good with this. I'm trying to remember the other story you remind me of. Oh, you remind me of a story where I had to deal with this like. Oh, actually, no, I'll go. Oh, this one's bad though. So this was one of my first ever jobs again. So this was after the restaurant disaster. I started working in the local chippy near my mum's house. Great chippy in terms of food. Like the food was just like
Chippy's just like French fries.
So, well, not French fries, like fish and chips, and like also Chinese food, but it's like English Chinese. So it's an English chippy, so they serve like Chinese food as well as English stuff, as well as like kebabs, you know, so it's everything. Really, really good though. The salt and pepper chicken was divine. Sweet chili beef was divine. All of it really, really good.
I love how much of a foodie you are that like, this must have been what, like 10 years ago?
More than that. Yeah, like 15 years ago.
Like the salt and pepper chicken, the beef, this is what I would get.
Oh yeah, if I go back, that's what I order. I go back and I order all of the stuff that I need.
Oh yeah, okay, so it's still there.
It's still there. Yeah. It's good food.
That's good.
But as I'll go into, just dreadful. So to work, and it was a similar environment to what you were in. So it was like all these older men and me being super naive and not understanding how bad it was. Yeah. Like, so we had. Chef who was Chinese, and then the other guys who were all different ethnicities actually, but all older, like in their late 30s, 40s. Kind of a skewed memory of how old they were now, because obviously I was so young that anyone's old. They're probably like only in their 30s and 40s. And it was one day where I was cleaning like a handle on like the fridge, and I was like dusting it, so like the motion looked a little bit ski-whiff now that I look back at it as an adult. But they were like, she can stay here. But I was like 15, like disgusting. And there was another time when
but also like don't turn that into something sexual.
I was cleaning.
Yeah, and that's gross.
One day,
that's gross.
Oh, this gets grosser. One day, the guys who own it like gave me coffee to give to the chef. Like, oh, give that to the chef. And I was like, okay. And then they were all giggling after I gave it to the chef. Turns out they'd spiked it with Viagra. So then we had to deal with like working around. I had to work with the chef for the rest of the shift.
Who has like
a raging boner, yeah. And I'm 15.
Yeah, that's, oh no.
Like, awful.
Like, I would be uncomfortable now and I'm 27. Yeah. Like, I'd be like, sort your fucking life out, I'm leaving.
Oh, yeah, me too. Like, bleh. And yeah, just grim.
Especially you with a guy with a boner. You're like, get away from me.
Kick it. Yeah. Slap it away. What is that? Don't want to know.
For those listening to the podcast, I just want to shout out Robyn's shirt at the moment. She's wearing a t-shirt that says, "I am gayer than I look."
And I look pretty gay.
And yeah, she looks pretty gay for those who can't see her.
And then the other one I was going to mention was when I was working as a kids entertainer. I had, like, every now and again, most of the time, I had the sweetest experience ever. Like, the parents were just, the kids were so happy and so excited.
Well, also because the parents are, like, investing their time and stuff in to make a good experience. You'd think that would be a positive experience for everybody.
Yeah, so most of the time, it was absolutely beautiful and it was so sweet and stuff like that. But every now and again, you would get a birthday kid who just doesn't deal well with having a party. As you'll know, like, some kids are just they're not about it, and it's actually the worst experience for them. So there was a day, and I'm dressed up as Queen Elsa, because it was around the time Frozen had just come out, so it was just like, I spent like 2 years, essentially, as like Elsa, because it was just so huge.
Yeah.
To the point where now if I hear Let It Go, sometimes I'll have this weird moment in my head where it goes, oh, that's your song. I'm like, I did not sing or write this, but it's just some sort of weird part of my brain that's like, yes, you are Idina Menzel. And I went to a party one day as Elsa. The birthday girl was petrified, right? So I have like a list of things that I usually do in a party, and I take like a snow machine, do all the songs and things, and we dance and we play games. But I always have backup things in my bag just in case it is that sort of a situation, because you get kids with different needs, like what they need from Elsa. And this little birthday girl was absolutely terrified of me. Sometimes it was just overwhelming. It could have been just a really big day, having all your friends in a hall. Big recommendation to parents, by the way, do not get a giant hall for your kid's birthday party. Children do really well in classroom-sized rooms. They actually get really overwhelmed in a bigger room, and then they start running around. They don't know what to do themselves, and then they get like overtired or overstimulated. Smaller rooms are easier. They actually prefer a little bit of routine. It makes it easier for any entertainment as well.
I like outdoor parties.
Oh, that's really good. If they have an outdoor space with like an indoor hall, that's great. But obviously, this was England, so
you're like, no.
Yeah,
Can't be in the rain or in the rain.
Can't be doing that. And then this little girl's petrified, she's crying immediately and not like in a good way. So I was like, okay, you know what? We'll do a couple of songs, but she really, really, really was not getting involved, like clinging to mom type level. So I was like, let's do some drawing. So I always have print-offs of like the Frozen characters and loads of pens and everything. So we all sit in big circles and we were all doing quiet drawing. And then after that, we all went out and did the snow machine, and she was much happier with that because I sat next to her and we drew together and colored together and stuff. And we did like a little singing circle and things. Whilst I did the snow machine. And then the next day I get a call from the mom, and she's asking for a full refund because the other parents and her think that it should have been more showy. So anyway, the girl left all happy, like the little birthday girl and stuff, and I left. She was super happy by the end, like as in like actually let me pick her up and wanted to like cuddle from Elsa goodbye, and all the other kids were super happy. She was just a bit more shy, reserved, probably overwhelmed. Kids get like that on their birthdays sometimes. And I thought all was well. Next day, like not the best, because it's better when the kids are like so overwhelmed with joy. Like that's a good day. It makes the job really, really nice. Next day I call from the mom, and the mom's like, oh, me and my friends, like the other parents, thought that it just wasn't like enough of a show, and you didn't do everything that was on the list, which is the only thing we missed off was the party games. And I was like, hey, it actually says like the parties might include or up to these things, and that's because I'd like to do it depending on the kid and how the kid is doing, like the birthday boy or girl. And your daughter was really overwhelmed when I arrived and not happy that I was there. So I wanted to ease her into enjoying it more.
But surely the parents would look at that from the perspective of like, wow, she really tailored it to make my daughter happy.
Oh, you think so? But no, the next thing I was just, that was good. Like my daughter seemed fine, and she did enjoy it at the end. But the other parents just didn't enjoy it as much. And I think that I should get a refund because they thought the party wasn't good. And I was like, so you're more concerned with how other adults thought the party was than your own kid and the other kids? I was like, all the kids were really happy.
And you're like, okay, maybe they don't rent me for their party.
I know, maybe they didn't bring me in for their stag do.
Yeah.
And a quick
there
fuck.
you go.
So,
no, I'm traumatized.
I was like, no, you're not getting a refund for this. I came, I did the service. Your child was very happy at the end. There also isn't a clause on that. They could have thought I was absolutely fucking terrifying the entire time. Like I'm scared of mascots, which is, I know, a very weird thing for anyone listening who doesn't know this already. I am very scared of mascots, like the ones with the big heads and the full body thing. Ugh.
Did you know that when I was in high school? Because I played every single sport.
Oh, they have ones, don't they?
I was on every single sport in high school, and then I think I like sprained my ankle or something. That I was out of commission for like, I don't know, a couple weeks. So I went to like the head of the gym department, Mr. Graham. Is his name actually Mr. Graham? Like, is that his first name or is his second name? No, his first name is not Graham, but I probably.
Are you sure?
For privacy, I shouldn't say his full name on camera.
It's Graham.
It's Graham.
It's Mr. Graham.
No, it's not. But shout out, Mr. Graham. I love you always. He got hit in the head with a ball, and
I mean that sounds like what would happen to the person who's in charge of the gym department.
It was really bad, but it was so funny. Like,
what kind of ball?
A baseball.
Oh, that sucks.
No, real bad. Like real bad.
I always reference the woman who gets hit in the head of the baseball. You know, in Princess Diaries, like, I need ice. Do you remember this? We need to watch Princess Diaries again.
I've seen it, but I don't remember what you're talking about. But so I went to him and I asked him, I was like, can I dress up as the mascot? for one event, and I did, and it was a lot of fun. I had so much fun. You would have loved it.
No,
I also, for my high school photos, I asked the principal. I was super bad in high school, like horrible student. I had my desk in the principal's office. Not for like doing bad things, just because like I talk a lot and teachers hated that. But then in the last year of high school, I was like teacher's pet, everything, like because I could choose my own classes and like do that. So
yeah, that's different.
Then I got really into it. And then, but so for my high school photos, I asked if my friend Tyler could dress up as the mascot and so he could carry me into the photo because it was like real cute. So I'm like being held up by the mascot.
I'm going to be horrified by this photo.
I'm going to find it.
Find it for me.
I'll find it for you.
I'm terrified of mascots. Like, I will kick them if they come near me. Like, I will not be happy.
I'll kick it.
So if, like, yeah, I will kick it. I will kick it.
I don't doubt it.
If my mum had, like, hired, like, a mascot or something like that, like the Paw Patrol one that went to my friend's kid's birthday party, I would have been in tears, terrified and stuff like that, but that wouldn't be, like, on the mascot.
No.
And they wouldn't deserve, like, to have come all the way out there, done that party and then have a refund issue. Like, that's just not how it works.
It's
like,
not. It's for the kids.
Well, yeah, it's like hiring, like, what if you hired like a stripper for a stag do or something, and they were like afterwards the groom was like, hey, you know what, I actually didn't like her that much. It's like, that's not.
No, and
that's not
also
how
that
it works.
In that industry as well, it'd be like, that's great.
Yeah,
love
nice.
that you don't like that.
Yeah,
we're keeping the money.
Yeah, cool. You still hired me here. I still did my time.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is the same.
Me on the phone to that woman. Anyway, I'm not giving you a refund. Let it go.
I hope you did that. I hope.
Let it go.
I pray that you did that.
And she's like, I'm gonna build a complaint email.
Just for you. Just for you.
Yeah, that job was a funny one.
Have you ever complained at like a place? I have.
Like what kind of place? Like anywhere, you mean?
Like anywhere. Because I'm not the type of person, I'm really, really not the type of person that complains, but I have complained. I have lodged a complaint.
Oh, my mom.
The worst company I have ever.
So, this is so funny. My mom used to make me, when I would have like a sick day off school, my mom just would never believe that I was sick if I had a sick day off school. I would always be sick if I was off school. But my mom would make me do stuff for her business, either folding or like writing, editing her website, or folding leaflets for her business, or
oh, so you'd be working,
or writing complaint.
The worst job. The worst job I ever had.
My mom would make me write complaint letters to our MP, Rosie Cooper. So I used to have to sit there and write out, "Dear Rosie Cooper, MP," and then write a huge issued complaint underneath for my mum and sign it off. That was like my job, was doing that.
I've complained once.
Oh, tell me.
The worst company. And I will plug them because I hate them with a burning passion. It almost brings me joy to hate them.
I want it to be something so obscure.
New Zealand Post.
Okay, no, I
have
I've made my own complaint.
They're horrible. They're horrible. Bro.
They lost my presents from my mum one year, all my Christmas presents, and they never recovered them, so they were all gone. My mum was so devastated.
My mom pays two different any time that they deliver a package to me, there is an incident. I can guarantee you it.
They're often ripped and broken, or like something's missing.
My mom pays like between like $250 and like $400 to ship a package to New Zealand.
Yeah, this is what my mom had to just pay £150 to send my Christmas parcel.
So expensive.
Yeah.
It's so expensive. My mom does, like, she pays a little bit more, but it's tracked like 7-day delivery. So it's not like, oh, we're just gonna throw it on the next plane. Like sometimes it could take ages. So whatever, paid all of that. I'm tracking it, blah, blah, blah. NZ Post arrives, depot. For like 10 days it's in the depot. So I called them and I was like, where is the box? Like, what is happening? This is the tracking number. What's going on? This is like Christmas presents or something like that.
It's Vicky on the other end.
I don't know that reference.
The woman, my woman who threw the jacket.
Oh yeah, it's her.
Vicky.
Probably. Vicky. Probably. Honestly, probably Vicky. No, it's just these like people that don't care, that like, and I get it. And like, I'm very good about it because when I yell at people on the phone, I don't yell. Like, could you see me actually screaming at someone on the phone? It's not really my vibe. It's more of like a very frustrated tone, but I'm always very clear about it. Like, it's not your fault,
But this is
but
not
this
okay.
is not okay. Please put me through to someone that I can complain to. But they're like, oh, we can't locate it. We don't know where it is in the depot. I was like, what do you mean you don't know where it is in the depot? They're like, well, we've lost it, so we just have to find it. I was like, well, why don't you get somebody to do that? Because it's been in there for 10 days. So hop fucking to it, please. Look, it sounds entitled, but for like 10 days and $400.
Well, to be fair, though, you are entitled to your package.
I'm
like
entitled.
that's you're entitled
I'm
to your
entitled
package.
to my package.
Yeah.
Thank you for validating that.
Yeah, you're entitled to
Thank
your
you.
package.
I'm like,
It's
no,
fine.
it's fine, but it's not fine.
Me to the chef who had the Viagra. You're entitled to your package, but can you take it home?
Take it away, please.
Please take it
Away
home.
from me. And then I ended up they found it. I don't think it was actually lost. I think nobody just wanted to do anything with it. I ended up spending another $100 because like with New Zealand Post, you could do like, it's like Pace or something like that, where you pay a courier to go pick it up and bring it to you. Because I was like, you're never going to deliver this at this rate, so I will do it. Second incident, this was probably like 6 years ago. And then the second incident was 3 weeks ago or whatever, when I was getting my credit card from the bank.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I applied for
I
the credit.
didn't even bother.
I applied for the credit card. I paid for express delivery because I'm like, no, it's going to go in the post. It's going to be here in 6 weeks.
Well, you needed it for your flights, so.
Yeah. And so then I was like, so I paid for the courier. I called the bank and I was like, hey, like I paid for like, it's 2-day delivery and it's at my office. So it's in the city. Like, where is it at? And they're like, oh, hey, here, we issued the card. It's with the New Zealand Post. And I hear that and I'm like, call New Zealand Post. I wait on the phone for 45 minutes for the lady on the other end of the phone to say, oh, well, we just got like a new machine in that sorts the mail and we sent it to Wellington. I'm like,
Wow.
I live in Auckland and where you've dispatched it from is a 5-minute drive. So why is it in Wellington? Oh, well, we sorted it. We don't know where it is. It's on its way to Wellington somewhere. I'm like, cool. I hate them so much.
Well, this was me like a few weeks ago, and I was trying to get my
hate
parcel redirected because they tried to attempt delivery, and
Best of luck.
I kept sending them notes, and I saying, "Hey, my caller to my apartment is broken. Please call this number when you arrive." And they was like, "We failed to deliver this. We failed to deliver this." I called them up, and I was like, "Pretty much." I was like, "Can you redirect it then to the nearest like checkpoint that I can just go in and get it?" It's like you've got 24/7 ones near mine. So easy. The woman on the phone, yeah, absolutely, we've done it. It's updated on all of our systems. Did they do that? No, they did not. No, they did not. They failed to deliver it several more times, and I would go stomping down. And this was for my Halloween costume, so I was like,
I need this.
I need this.
We'll do a whole episode on Halloween because Robyn's real big into it.
Yeah, I am. I fit into the stereotypes of many queer things. Halloween is gay Christmas, and I love it. But yeah, I stomped all the way down there, and I was like, okay, well, they failed to deliver it this afternoon, so it should be here, and that's what it says on the card. I get there, and they're like, oh, no, they won't. They won't drop it off until the morning because it's still with the guy who's, like, delivering it. And I was like, well, can you call the guy and see if he can deliver it to my house again, or just call me, or drop it off at the thing that he was supposed to deliver it to? And he was like, oh, no, we don't have a number for the drivers. And I was like, you should. That really...
That's like...
That would make sense.
Yeah. See,
It's
but
just illogical things.
all the other courier companies. So
yeah, you can contact them.
yeah.
Also, I loved it. Is it DHL or whatever? They call you.
DHL.
They're really
DHL
good.
call you, yeah.
I love my DHL
also
guy.
the
He's
other
great.
ones, they're not New Zealand Post. It's like the red ones. I should know what they are because he comes to my office every
Is
day.
that Courier or whatever it's called?
I think it's called Courier.
Yeah, I like them.
I like them. So they delivered my
Poor thing.
my suitcase got lost when I was coming back from Thailand.
Yeah.
It didn't get lost, but it didn't make it on my flight, so they had to ship it on the next flight. And then I was like, whatever, it is what it is. Air New Zealand's pretty good about it. They're like, well, we will deliver it to your house. Like, just send us the address.
That is pretty good.
It was pretty good. I mean, like, I suppose if you're not staying in New Zealand, that's pretty shitty because, like, it's just going to have to follow you to your destination. But for me, like, the situation actually wasn't that bad. So, like, it's in the air now. Like, we put it on the next flight. So it's coming to you. And I was like, sweet, that's all good. The courier people, he calls me and he's like, hey, I've got your bag. I'm going to deliver it between like 4 and 7 or something like that. I was like, sweet, all good. So I was like, I left work early to be like, I'll be home at 4 to go get the bag.
Yeah.
And then he calls me at 3:30. He's like, hey, I'm here now. And I was like, hey, like you said 4 to whatever. So I've left work. I'm on my way, but I'm about 15 minutes. I was like, do you want to just try and like hide it somewhere? He's like, no, it's your suitcase, it's your stuff. He's like, I'm just going to go, I'll pop out to the dairy, just grab a drink, and then I'll come back. And like, hopefully you'll be here.
That's so nice.
And he was so nice. I was like, amazing, thank you so much. Like,
That's
beautiful
so
human.
sweet.
Yeah. Anyways, these aren't work stories. These are just us complaining about courier companies.
They were working.
they work.
From NZ Post, who weren't working hard enough.
No, they don't. If you are NZ Post, sponsor us.
Do better.
We'll take your money though.
But deliver. We just want you
Deliver
to
the
deliver.
money.
Just deliver.
Deliver my packages.
And we'll deliver.
Yeah.
Any more work-related stories? I have one that's like work-related, but it's so like off base from this.
I have a great work story, which is just funny.
Yeah, give it.
I have so many work stories which are funny. We've done so many cool things with my job. The job I'm in now, though, like, I've been with them for 4 years, and we've done so many cool things, like, just, like, boat parties and trips to Melbourne and, like, stuff like that. So that's been, it's been a really, really fun time. But the funny thing is, and I love my CEO so much, like, he's done so much for me. These are actually his words, because I've asked for, this is only going to air in like January, right? So we're good to talk.
Launch the news.
Yeah, we'll be good to launch the news. I asked my company the other day for, in my CEO's words as well, maternity leave without having a baby. Which is true, because I just asked for a sabbatical. I was like, can I take a year off and do side
You asked
quests?
for like 9 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, a baby.
I think it's gonna be 6.
Yeah.
At the end when it's approved. That's what it's sounding like as of today. But I'm happy. I'm happy with that. It gives me 6 months to focus on my side quests, which is this. And I can get into the whole reason about why I wanted to take a year off on from work. I think it's honestly super. I think if you're ever given the opportunity, and my friend Chelsea said this really, really, really well, because I told her what I was up to, and she said, I'm gonna butcher it again because I don't know the exact language that she used, but she said, what a privilege it is to prioritize your happiness.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is exactly what it is. Like, and I'm so grateful for the company that I'm in and the life that I have, because when do people get the opportunity to do this? Like, I've been working, I moved to New Zealand at 18. I've been working since then, not just working, like working 7 days a week, like hard corporate, and then bars, and then just trying to get to the place I'm at now, where I'm like, oh my God, I can breathe. Oh, this is what air feels like.
And then as soon as you got too comfortable, you were like, well, I can't be comfortable like this now because I'm not going to change anything.
Literally, because that's exactly what happened. One day, honestly, I woke up, my friend Miriam was at my house. I just looked at her, I started crying, and I was like, she's like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm just going to live the next 10 years of my life the exact same that I've lived the last 9.
You can say it too easily.
More comfortable, sure. My holiday once or twice a year, amazing. But I just feel like there's just so much more in life. And
Well, you also want to put more of you out there. That's the thing. Like, your job is like, you're really, really good at it, but it isn't.
I'm really good at my job.
It isn't you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not all you. It's like you need something more you.
Cue the podcast.
Yeah, Q podcast.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about.
This is a big reason, yeah. Because I genuinely think, like, you will hear that this is a running joke because I say this all the time, but I mean it genuinely. I'm not the most beautiful person. I'm not the funniest person. I am. but I'm not the most athletic. I'm not really the best at anything. And like, I'm not, and I don't say that to be self-deprecating. I say it because I'm realistic about life. But one thing that I am is I'm real. Like, I'm all natural, just fucking real. Like, I am myself authentically in every situation. And yes, sometimes, literally my whole life, I've been told, you're a bit much. And fuck it, I don't give a...
You know that I totally don't believe in that.
I don't
It's like
care.
my favorite thing ever is to be told that it's like, you're too much. I love being told
Like,
that I'm too much.
stop.
And I'm just like, oh, you mean you can't handle this?
Yeah.
That's
More
what
to love.
you mean.
But
and
yeah.
then the prison guard's like, no, you're too.
No, but that's it. Like but to be fair, like I think my problem is like off the cuff when I meet people, because I'm not stunning and I'm not this and I'm not that and I'm not like
She said
charming and blah.
Everything.
Yeah. I find people like take a while to get to know me, and that's absolutely fine. That's who I am. Like, I think that because the people that I've had in my life that know me for more than like a month, like they're like, yeah, Liv, like they get it at that point. They're just like, yeah, well, she's not serious. Everything's a joke. Fun. But when people initially meet me, like one of my really, really good friends, Steen, he's like my brother in New Zealand. When he first met me, I used to do this thing when I'd get drunk, like, and like, again, this is like a very me thing, and like, you'll recognize this when I say it. I used to do this thing when I'd get drunk and I'd run up to people and I'd poke them on their shirt and I'd go, you have something here. And then I'd poke them in the nose. Yeah. Like the most annoying little playful me thing to do. But I used to do that a lot.
You're like a 10-year-old brother.
I am like a 10-year-old.
It's your brother.
Yeah.
He goes in there.
Yeah, I am. 100%.
Hey, you look here.
Made you look.
But
I used to do that, and so then when I first met him, it was so funny. I was a vegetarian at that point.
Which is just so funny to me, by the way. Last week, me and Liv had steak 3 days in a row.
Yeah. 3 days in a row.
To be fair, one of those, we would have had one less of those if it weren't for the fact that laws have changed here in New Zealand. So you can't get, I was supposed to say you can't get red wine after 9. You can't get alcohol after 9 p.m. now. So we left recording podcast last week thinking, oh, should we have steak and red wine jus again? Because we were gagging for it. And we got to the supermarket, got our steaks, and then realized we can't get red wine because it was after 9.
Yeah, it was
and
so
then
sad.
we proceeded to drive around hoping that, because it's the first day of the law, that maybe we would be able to get some. And we couldn't. So then the next day, we had to have it.
Yeah. It's just like when you got that itch, you got to scratch it.
So
it was so good,
It was so worth it.
Like, it was so worth it. That was the best, like, because I've made red wine jus maybe like 3 times in the past, but never that good.
No, it was perfect.
And it was
so
getting
good.
better every day. Like the second day was even better. And
if I hadn't drank it all on the first day.
Yeah. Well,
like it
literally drank it like a soup.
Like it was kava.
Yeah, up to her mouth, drinking out of the bowl. But I take it as a compliment. Take that as a win. But yeah, so I've asked for this maternity leave basically so I could just like slow down for a minute and actually think about my life, put me first once, like, and not saying that I never do that, but like I've been in really shitty relationships, and I don't mean that in like one of them was really shitty, and then like the last one, like it wasn't shitty, it's just like it's so obvious, like we were not the people for each other, and I think I was just always too like comfortable to actually do anything about that. And that's just what it is. Like, I'm comfortable now, and I feel like I was actually talking to my CEO about this today, is for the 15 minutes that I went into work. Sometimes you need to torpedo your life and be really uncomfortable in order to change it. And the thought of living the next 10 years the way that I've been living the last 9, and again, beautiful life, great experices. Like you're
not putting it down.
I'm not
you're
putting
just
it
saying
down.
That you needed.
I just
something
need
different.
Something different. I need this. Like I need to do things that spark my passion. I love this so much. Yap all day long.
Yapping in our cute little chairs in our cute little corner.
Basically that's where we're at with my mat leave. Maybe it's approved. Hopefully it's approved.
Your baby-free mat leave.
I honestly do think that's the funniest thing ever is, can I have maternity leave without having a baby? Please. Because, like, I don't have one, so why should I be penalized for not growing a life inside of me and bringing forth a child? No, it's
bad, dirty woman, no childbearing, how dare you?
I have no man.
Yeah, true.
I'm single. What am I going to do? Also, I feel like that would be... You've even said it, bro. Like, you said it. You're like, God...
I don't think you could handle it.
No, I couldn't. Absolutely. Not now. I could. Like, I feel like I would be a really, really good mom.
You would be once they've gotten out of the sleeping problem age.
Yeah.
You'd actually need me to be there as, like, second parent.
I would
you'd
need
be like,
someone.
Robyn, you don't need sleep.
You don't need sleep. I need 8 hours. Like,
yeah,
I need 8 hours.
The 8
to function.
hours. Yeah,
absolutely.
I messaged, like, Marjorie, she messaged me the other night because I was going out the night before the boat party, and she was like, go to bed, like, it's early, and I was like, I don't need sleep. Sleep needs me. Yeah. And it's true.
Marjorie's like, yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
She's like, yeah, it does. But yeah, I think we'll do one more story. Do you have one?
I've got one more. It's not really, it's work related because it was a girl working, because I remembered her earlier, Jen, the Canadian girl.
But to be fair, you could do work related because we've been talking about, I've been literally just going on a rampage about New Zealand.
This is technically going to be part of a Robyn and Sports as well, because but I have so many.
Oh, Robyn and Sports.
Robyn and Sports, which is what, it makes it funnier that I've been personal training for so long, because my history with sports is just hilariously bad. So back when I was working in that shop Merge, when Jen first started working there, she was like this, she's really pretty Canadian girl, came,
Why are you
bouncing into work. Really pretty blonde Canadian girl, she is as well, or was then, I think she's a brunette now. Came, into work, and she was like, I was telling her, like, I'd just come back from the gym when I first met her, and she's like, yeah, you have that gym glow, and then she was like, oh, we should I go to that same one, we should go to the gym together, and I was like, yes. And she was like, we should go to spin, and I was like, oh.
Oh, like biking?
Yeah. And I'd never done it before, but I'd also been going to the gym for a little while. Like, I'd already lost like maybe 15 kilos at that point. This
wasn't recent.
No. Okay. I'll tell you why you think it's recent. It's because Michelle asked if I'd go. So it's another pretty girl asking if I'd go to spin, and I said yes. So she'd asked me, like, to come to spin class with her, and I was thinking, like, oh, I'll probably be fine because I've been going to the gym for a little while now. Like, I've lost, like, quite a good amount of weight. It's like, I think I can do this. And more importantly, like, pretty girl asked me to, so I will. So I go there. I get on the spin bike, and they have, like, an analog clock on the wall. And
which is...
just a normal clock telling the time, like, not like digital. So with the hands.
The kinds that I can't read.
The ones you can't read, yes. The one that I have on my wall that confuses you. The one you don't like. And my phone died recently. It was about to die recently, and I was like, I'll meet you at the coffee shop at 4:30. She's like, how are you going to know the time? And I was like, I have a clock. Liv. And she's like, who has a clock? And I was like, me.
Who has a clock and who can read a clock? I look at the clocks and I'm like, I could read it if like push came to shove and I had no other option, I could read it. But I have to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
No, I can look at it and immediately read it.
I have no idea.
But anyway, I was in the spin class. Like, I strapped my little feet in. I got on the seat that is apparently, like, not pussy friendly. They're just, like, solid rocks of
all of them, or you chose a bad
all
one?
Of them. Yeah. They're just bloody terrible. So I got on the bike, and I look, and we start, and the woman is like yelling at us. It's like this dark room, and they're all like stood up and bouncing, and Jen's doing amazing, and she's like, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, and I'm like doing like my own little hand maneuver that I come up with in this class where I would look like I was turning it up, but I was actually sneakily turning it down, and then 15, unbeknownst to me, 15 minutes into the class, the clock had broken, and it stopped at 1:15. What would have actually been 45 minutes into the class, I look at the clock and I think it's been 15 minutes, and it's like a bad trip. So I'm just like, I can't do this. This can't be only a quarter of the way in. I was like at death's door. Like, I was just in so much pain. I couldn't breathe. I'm asthmatic too. And I was having the worst time of my life. Everything hurt. My pussy was just ruined. I was like, I cannot do this for another 45 minutes. I started crying.
Just on the bike.
So dramatic. So I started crying on the bike. And then about 5 minutes later, the lady's like, time for a cool down. And then I cry again, tears of joy that this was like over. And then I like unstrap, get off, and I'm like unable to walk really. And I'm just like, well, I'm never having sex again. This is just awful. And then Jen's like, oh, we should go outside and get like, I can't remember, like a smoothie or something. And then
She's like, let's go for a walk.
And then her boyfriend was going to get her, and I was just like, everything is awful. Everything. And she was like, we should come back. And I've not been since. That was like 10 years ago.
Fair.
Yeah. But I might be going again soon because
I fuck with a spin class. I like a spin.
I'll only go to this one because I've been, well, one, like, I've been asked, Michelle's asked me to go, and then also, apparently they have, like, screens around you in this one, so you can be in space.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, love that. I'll bike in space.
Do some acid before.
Can you imagine? I asked Michelle to do acid with me. She's like, no. I was like, we're combining our worst experiences. Let's get it.
And then we'll have a great experience.
We'll have a great time. Yeah, apparently you get to choose what you want. And I was like,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, apparently. Well, I don't know whether or not we choose as a class or whether or not you can choose individually. Yeah. But I'm down to give it a go. Yeah. I'm down to just give it a go. I'm down to give classes a go again.
I do like
I have also been a personal trainer for a long time since that class.
I feel like you'll be fit enough
I'd probably be fit enough now. It would still suck because the first time you do anything different, it sucks. Like it just does.
We used to have spin class in high school. I went to like a...
you've told me that. Yeah. You went to a weird...
I went to a sports high school. So
I went to a performing arts high school. I feel like that suits us both so much.
Like literal, the most tomboy girl. Like, I genuinely think that when we are out in public together, everybody just looks at us. One, everybody thinks we're a lesbian couple anyways, which...
Wait, we're not?
We kind of are.
Like, excuse me. You're ruining the will they, won't they of the podcast.
Will they, won't they?
The will they, won't they of the podcast. Yeah.
We kind of are, basically. Like, we're like married. We're like a married couple, basically.
Yeah, we are.
Except we're not married. But I genuinely think that when we go out in public together, people just think like, oh yeah, lesbian couple, she's the butch one.
It's a disparity in clothing, yeah.
Well, you'll be wearing like a tube top and like a skirt, and I'll be wearing this.
Yeah, you'll be in with business casual, or like a suit.
Yeah, I'll be literally in a pantsuit.
Yeah.
And
I'll be in a gown.
Jeans and a t-shirt. Yeah, you'll be in a gown. And I'm like, I promise you, I'm not the butch. I'm not butch. Like, it's not. I'm actually very dainty and little.
Until she's driving.
Until I'm driving, yeah.
And then
watch out.
And then ends post.
Yeah. Well, if I'm driving and I see one of their vans.
One of those tries to get in front of you.
Oh, I didn't tell you what happened today.
What happened?
Well, I procrastinated. So, you know, the warrant of fitness on my car expired in May.
Yes. It's December for anyone.
It's December.
So what happened today?
December. It's December. My warrant expired, blah, blah, blah. So I went today because I'm like moving. So I'm moving out of my flat tomorrow and I go overseas tomorrow. So it's like a lot happening in a very short period of time, which look, that was all my design. I chose all of that exactly that way, but
it doesn't make it any less
stressful. It doesn't make it any less stressful. But I'm also like part of it. So that's all one thing, but it was just like stressful. And then I was like, okay, I've got to go get my warrant done because I'm parking my car at the airport for a month.
And you're thinking they might look at that and be like, no.
Well, I think it'll be fine because it's a private lot that like you pay them to store your car. So I think it's actually not going to be a problem. But then I went to go get my warrant done today. And oh my God, me and that guy had like the funniest interaction in the world. Well, it was just funny, but it was funny. So I booked in, rock up, do the thing, and then rock up, do the thing. I get like the name called. They're like, Olivia, like 5 minutes later. And then he opens my trunk, and I was like, why are you going in there? You don't check the trunk in a warrant. Leave the trunk alone. Opens the trunk up, and he's like, there's rust on your like things. He's like, on a sunny day, just like open the back of your trunk, and like when you have time, just like wash this. And I was like, cool. I was like, but how do you get rid of rust? He's like, just grab a toothbrush and start scrubbing. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, you don't know this? And I was like, no. Well, how do you, like, who knows this? And then he tells me, I still want a second.
If you knew this, put it in the comments.
Yeah. I still want a second opinion on this. I might create an Instagram poll tonight because this just doesn't sound right to me.
Oh, I thought Russ was like, you can't.
Oh, not that. No, wait.
Oh, wait.
So he's like, I'm not failing you on that. And I was like, okay. He's like, but you did fail. And I was like,
Aww.
On what? He's like, oh, your two front tires, they have no tread. And I was like, but how? I was like, I bought those tires like a year and a half ago. Like, they're new.
Where have you been?
I was like, I just bought them like a year and a half ago. And then he's like, a year and a half is a long time for tires. You need to buy them once a year. I was like, you need to buy 4 tires once a year? Like, that just seems ludicrous. That seems like a lot of tires.
That does seem like a lot of tires.
Like, a lot of tires. Like, the only thing that's making sense to me now, I don't actually know if you've got them in New Zealand, but in Canada, you'll be driving and you'll just see like these big piles of tires. Like, I think they use them to like weigh down like hay.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe that's why. But like, it just seems like a really excessive amount of tires. So, but I failed. Now I've got to go buy new tires tomorrow.
That sucks so much.
Yeah.
Just
And
to
then-
add something to your day.
It was so funny. I was telling him, I was like, can you just pass me and I'll buy tires like next week or whatever, or like in a month or whatever? And he's like, no, that's not how it works. I was like, well, can you just make it work? And he's like, no. And I was like, but I'm going to Canada tomorrow. He's like, you've got like whatever to fix it. I was like, but I leave to Canada tomorrow. And he's like, no, that's fine. He's like, just put this on your windscreen. I was like, but my rego's expired as well. But you can't get a rego until you get the warrant of fitness. And then he's like, yeah, but you just put, like, if you get pulled over, like, this is enough to say you're fixing everything.
Yeah.
You're working on it.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. But, like, I don't know what day I'm getting back. Like, it's only good until the 13th of January. And I'm like, I don't have a return ticket yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. But, yeah, that's what happened today. And I'm sick, and I'm trying to move out of my house. And he didn't come pick up the couches today, so.
Yeah, which is super annoying. But on the plus side, we have the couches to sit on tonight while we watch True Detective.
And eat cheese.
Oh, and speaking of which, we should go do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, it's about time because we got our last night together before you go. How romantic for us.
Our
Have
last
our
night
cheese board and wine. We have to pick up another bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And
Do that real quick.
Yeah, real quick. And True Detective on the sofas that we're not taking away.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in to
Poor Decisions
with
Robyn
and Liv. We will see you on the flip side, on the flippity flip. I'm gone for 3 weeks.
Yes.
So we'll pick up.
We'll try and do a virtual one though while you're gone.
We can do, because it'd be nice to get into the rhythm of it. Maybe I'll bring the webcam. Oh, but what do you do for mics? What do we do for mics?
We'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll keep hold of these on this side. You might also be able to find one on that
Oh,
side.
I feel like that webcam's actually got a pretty good mic.
Then let's just do that.
We could try.
Yeah, we can give it a go. Why not?
Oh.
And then we could also always try and do a live stream instead, if we're up to that point as well, and do a themed version for that. And for anyone listening on YouTube or somewhere you can add comments, I think I've actually heard that you can add comments on Spotify now, but don't fact check that unless you're on Spotify. Fact check it.
Yeah,
I think there's actually on podcasts. I think I've seen something about that, but I could be wrong. But either way, share your stories, your work stories, good, bad, anything related, and especially if they're funny. We also, I think we are going to create we have Instagram, which is the Poor Decision Gals. We obviously have YouTube, Spotify, and all the rest already going. And I think we are going to launch a Reddit so that people can actually add their stories there quite easily.
That'd be cool.
Because I think that'd be a really nice way to get conversation flowing, going, and ideas as well as to what else we should bring up as topics.
What people want to talk about.
Yeah, what do you want to hear?
That's what it is. It's just Robyn and I yapping and then interviewing people. That's fun. And then as we do in every episode, we wrap with, what's the poorest decision? I'm going to straight ahead and just dive into the poorest decision. Look, I could say it was working at either of those places, but whatever, you live and you learn. The poorest decision is ever choosing to use special postage company. Yep.
I think that my poorest decision, or the poorest decision within mine, was being naive in an environment filled with older men, I think. But that's not really
That's
like
not your,
a decision
that's not a
of
decision.
mine.
That's just your
No.
experience.
Carrying 4
Yeah.
things of Peroni on my first day and stealing my mum's beautiful Chloe pants was pretty up there.
Stealing the pants is bad.
So was going to spin class. And so was...
So all of Robyn's decisions.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you know what the poor decision was my general manager saying I couldn't do a refund and then changing his mind after she had verbally abused and assaulted all of the staff.
Yeah, absolutely.
She deserved nothing. It was also really frustrating because it was only $60. Like
it wasn't like a $300 jacket.
No. Which is like... And even then, like, oh, she just sucked.
Yeah. Screw you, Vicky.
Best decision though was when Jen shook the jacket.
Yeah.
I like loathed it at the time because I knew what was gonna happen, but it was like it took everything within me not to laugh at her doing it because the way she stood there, just deadpan and just like went like that with the hanger.
I would have loved that so much.
There were some girls from the jewelry shop next door, I think like Walker and Hall. They were in there at the same time as this happening. And when I went in there like a week later, they were like, oh, you handled that so well, by the way.
Oh, good.
She was awful.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, did you see how funny it was when she threw the jacket? It was worth it, like just for the story to have afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
You said have a nice life.
But all but that's all it is, right? It's life every moment that because you probably went home that day and you're like, awful day, like this was horrible, she was so mean, whatever. But like you give it a bit of time and you learn from it, you take away a really good story from it, you look back and you laugh. Like
I was already laughing during the whole experience. Like in my head, it was like dealing with her was annoying, and but I was glad that I was dealing with it and not the other people.
Not the new girl.
Oh God,
run away.
Just what are you staring at? Go away! And then just the way she went. And then just like scurried up the stairs, and I was just like,
oh, the poor thing.
Oh, yeah. Like, on your first day.
So look, I support that. Bad, Vicky. Bad. Well, again, thank you for tuning in. We will love and leave you, and we will see you next time.
Mwah.
Mwah.